Happy Monday, BioRave family. How are we doing? I am so excited to be here with you live on our weekly BioRave lives. Now, I sent an email out. If you're not on the email list, let me know. I'll get you on there. But there's a few changes coming up. I actually have been feeling really called to doing a series. So this is the first of the series. And it's been nudging me. It's like actually really annoying. I've been really tapping into my intuition, listening to myself, and yeah, honoring what I truly desire to do and talk about. And like every day, it's like thriving sober. Hey, Pearl, talk about thriving sober, thriving sober. I was like, oh my gosh. And so here I am. My soul has led me to want to create a thriving sober series. Okay. And this is something that I truly believe can benefit a lot of people. I'll post this on YouTube, on my podcast, and I'll be posting snippets of it all over social media. I am really stepping up my social media game because I know that more people need what I'm talking about, what I have, and the tools I've really adapted and learned over the past few years that allow me to thrive sober. Okay. So there's actually 4 main pillars of the BioRave movement. Now, there is my framework, which is the LIT method, right? The LIT method, and the LIT method encompasses your soul, your heart, your body, your mind. The Shabam framework, if you haven't heard that episode on my podcast, go listen to it because everyone literally loves the Shabam framework, okay? And you gotta say it with some sass, Shabam, all right? And within that, that's actually the framework that my program, the High Vibe Tribe, is all based on. And that's like what I live by on a day-to-day basis is the LIT method and how to get me more aligned to my more lit up self and feeling good on a soul, body, emotional, mental level. And that's the deep work we get to do to really elevate ourselves to a higher frequency, right? High vibe tribe. And the 4 pillars that I'm building the BioRave movement on are these 4. It's thriving sober. It's getting high off life through learning how to shift your mindset and create more release of positive neurotransmitters in the body, of positive chemicals, and just feeling really good through the various things. Through using movement as a way to heal, to connect deeper to yourself, to have a good time and be able to tap into fully expressing through movement in a sober state, right? And then is creating a life that you don't want to escape from. And so creating a life that you love, you wake up to, you're obsessed with what you're doing, you love yourself. And like the more you create a life you don't want to escape from, the less you need to rely on other things and external factors to have happiness. You create that internally. Okay, so my 4 pillars are thriving sober, getting high off life, right? Creating habits every day that help you get high off life, which is the biohacking part of this movement. And then we have creating a life you don't want to escape from and using movement and dancing to heal, to release, to express, to tap in, and all the things I love talking about. So this series is going to be thriving sober, and I'm going to be creating some various resources and content all around my 4 pillars, in addition to the LIT method and the Shabam framework. Okay, we're really creating methodologies and things that I can really share with people to help them thrive. Now, this is the first of many of the Thriving Sober series, and I have no idea where it's going to take me, but we're just going with the flow. All right. And so this first one, I actually really want to talk about what being sober actually means and redefining your definition of sober, of what that means, of, yeah, you creating your own version of being sober that feels really good to you. Yeah. And so if you're someone that is recently sober or newly sober or sober curious, or you know that whenever you drink or do substances or whatever it is, it's like not the vibe for you, that's beautiful. We're going to talk about so many different things. And obviously, I'm also here for your input, for your insights. And so please message me, DM me. If you're in a Discord group, drop your questions in Discord, drop your insights in Discord. I'm just here to help you literally thrive. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is thriving sober and like what sober actually means. I'm actually going to look up the definition of sober. Okay. And then we're going to create, I truly believe you get to create your own definition of all these things. You get to create your own reality, your own twist, your own take on these things in the way that serves you best. Because depending on where you are at in your sober journey, it's going to look different and it's going to evolve, and that is okay. So, Sober means not affected by alcohol, not drunk. Okay. So there's other definitions that say you practice complete abstinence from drugs, alcohol, and other addicted substances. Okay. So another old term is in possession of one's faculties and sensible in behavior. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of different areas and ways you can say what being sober means. Usually in society, when you say being sober, people think of not drinking. Okay. Which is definitely one definition. I really like definition of having all your faculties, being sensible in your behavior. Okay. To me, what being sober means is being in a state where I don't need anything outside myself to achieve the feelings I desire, the goals I desire, the thoughts I desire, and just the life I desire. And when I say nothing outside of me, I truly mean that. I mean, no coffee. I don't need coffee for energy. I don't need drinks to express and to have fun. I don't need substances to do whatever things I need to do. I don't need to rely on people and external factors, external validation to feel good about myself. I mean, like when I take sober to the next level, and I mean like I don't need anything outside myself to thrive and to feel good about myself. I don't need people that, that are gonna tell me different things to really hi Dylan, to support myself. And I think it's so important that you'd make this your own definition. For me, that's what it means because that's what I truly believe. Like I believe I can create everything I need within myself to be happy, to have energy, to think about myself in a positive way, to sleep better. I even mean like I don't need anything to take for me to sleep well. People are like, oh yeah, I need to take melatonin and do this and that. And I'm like, no, like I really truly don't desire and require anything outside myself to create the results I desire. And that's what I mean by, for me, being sober and thriving sober and being able to sleep well and eat well and feel energized and all the things I want without needing really, obviously, I eat food and I drink water, but all the natural things that occur in my body that I can amplify, right? I'm really working on deepening my body and its functioning and how to make my body work better. And that's the biohacking part of this. It's like, okay, biohackers often are just all about the human optimization, right? We're here to optimize our well being, to enhance our energy, to make ourselves feel better, to prolong our lifespan, to feel more energized and be younger and have clearer skin and work on our internal health, our metabolic health. These are all things that I dive into with my clients, but it's like, what does thriving sober mean to you? So if you're watching this and if you're watching the replay, I want you to make your own definition of what being sober means to you. And there's no right or wrong, really. And when I say, for me, it's like, oh, not relying on anything, the word relying is an emphasize, not needing and relying on anything. Does that mean I never ever do drugs or never ever have a sip of alcohol or never ever do things? No, of course not. I'm human. I like the party, I do the festival life, and it's about being intentional about it, having true desire and like, yeah, like it feels good to my body to make this decision. And it's not a need. It's not oh, I have to get really high to be in this environment. Oh, I have to do this to get this result. It's a different energy, you know what I mean? And so you determine within yourself what that means to you. Some people are so hardcore. They're like, "Oh my God, you have a sip of alcohol? Like, wow, you're not. How do you know you're sober? Like, whatever." And I think it doesn't matter what other people think. It's what feels good to you. And so, that being said, what does thriving sober mean to you? What does that look like to you? I went for a walk with a friend, and I was talking about like my movement and what I'm doing with BioRave and how I want to have sober parties and all these things. She was like, "Oh yeah, okay, like, well, what's sober mean? Like, what's that even mean?" And for her, she's like, "I'm sober," but she still does psychedelics and mushrooms and LSD because she loves that and that makes her feel more connected to herself. But it's not from a place of like, oh, I need to do this because I'm feeling uncomfortable right now. It's like, oh, I desire to do this like once a month because mushrooms actually help me feel more connected and help me express more. And I'm like, that's beautiful because it's not from a place of I want to get so fucked up and oh my God, like I just want to lose myself and not feel and escape all my emotions. And sometimes that's what people need to do for a moment to cope with what's going on in their life. And again, no right or wrong, no judgment, but it's like, how can we come to a place where we feel good enough in ourselves and we can manage our emotions and we can, navigate life and thrive without relying on all these external things. And it's not just drugs, it's like social media, it's food, it's sex, it's relationships, it's anything that you have this kind of toxic relationship with that you're using to escape, right? And so I don't see just like the drugs and the alcohol as your substance. Your substance can be whatever that you have this relationship with where you're like dependent and you need it to thrive. And I truly believe that's what we're working with here. It's not just about that. So that's what I want to say. Honestly, it was a short one. Dylan, if you want to say anything about what I'm saying, drop any thoughts or unmute yourself. But I think it's really redefining what being sober means to you and what thriving sober means to you, and assessing all the areas in your life that you might have toxic and not healthy relationships with these external factors that you want to kind of work and improve on so you can become like independently, holistically well. And I don't mean like never rely on anything, but coming to a place within yourself where you feel really secure and supported in yourself and your health. So that's what I wanted to share. And yeah, if you have any insights, I'd love to hear them. Anyone else listening to this too, please share what come up for you when I share these things. But again, it's just my 2 cents and what I want to share with y'all.
Hey,
Hi.
I appreciate the topic today. It's been kind of on my mind. Yeah. Yeah, I think well said all around. Um, y- yeah, lacking a lot of structure in my life for a while. It's been definitely like substances have been a way to f find a sense of stability
Mm,
or maybe have become that. And it's not really anything in particular, but it's come to the point where often I'm just like when I just instead of focusing or really just like focusing on what I need to get done, I'll just my body is just like reacting to like, oh, but like why not just go do this or that to feel something. Um and I've always been a very big believer in balance and contextual use and this sort of thing, but it can be challenging when the lines get blurred a lot or like progressively over time the lines get blurred, and perhaps when one is using starts to use different substances or like different substances for different reasons in different contexts,
mm,
lines get blurred, and then it can um definitely become uh a frequent thing if you don't have like a strong structure in your life. I think to strong like routine and structure and um direction to sort of like bring your focus back, um and that's sort of at the point where I've come to where I've been like kind of doing all sorts of stuff and living in different places and been through some like ups and downs and stressful times, like haven't really had a lot of clear routine or structure. And so substance use, which I've had a long relationship, right? Like for like since I was a teenager basically, um has become just more and more just a thing that I've kind of started programming my body as like the go-to to just like find a sense of just like calmness and stability.
mm,
And definitely definitely has been like a front of mind in terms of shifting those habits and getting away from that, but it can be challenging. Yeah, because sometimes like there's like yeah there's a lot of can sometimes be a lot of gray area, right? Like if I'm saying I want to be sober, okay, well, what does that mean in terms of like cutting everything out, like all substances that are psychoactive maybe affect my mental emotional state in some way, but what about something like CBD? May CBD is probably fine, right? But it's like a light, there's something there where some things may or caffeine obviously is a good example, some things that fall kind of in this gray area in between. And then but then those can also just lead back to the same sort of cycles of like wanting to do something, just like take something in order in, as like s- yeah, a dependency, or as like a vehicle to maybe shift your state instead of like having the right mindset and the right practices to just be able to get to that state. Like a lot of people use caffeine that way, for instance, where they like can't get any work done unless they have 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee in a day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think you shared so many things that so many people also experience on a regular basis. And yeah, like there's a gray line, right? And I think for me, it's always comes back to your intention behind it and like why you're doing this thing or needing this thing to create a certain feeling within you, and can you learn how to create that within yourself through more healthier ways, through other alternatives that are more supportive for you. And you mentioned something that was really key that stood out to me, and you said, you know sometimes like you haven't had a lot of stability in your life, and so like you have built a habit of creating a sense of calmness or a certain feeling through these substances and things, and your body gets used to that, right? And your body learns like, oh well, no, like we want, and it starts to want to do these things to create that stability. But it's like the actual root of it is that you desire stability and like clarity and like a really strong foundation in your life. And so it's like, how can you fill up that cup with more strong and like grounded ways and healthier practices? So instead of your body like learning to crave external things to create that feeling, it's like, okay, how can we create that through your habits, through what you're doing, which is great, right? Through your habits, through sleeping better, through shifting things, through exercise, through moving. And yeah, having that stability with you throughout your life is going to be really helpful for you. But thank you for sharing that. I think it's, yeah, something that we all are navigating. It's like, what's the gray line? It's like, yeah, having this thing because of why, like why you wanting that thing, and how can you create that within yourself in other ways.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of what you said in one of the soul videos. I think the second or third one about um trusting yourself and your voice, and building the habit of trusting your voice and what you tell yourself to do, with just like routines of like checking in and acknowledging what it is that your body and your soul and wants, and acting according to that, and then that becomes just a stronger and more ingrained, I think, fulfilling, like self-rewarding kind of thing, where you
Hmm.
build a strong habit of um just acting along with like what you want to do, and then that's kind of like rewarding itself. Whereas I think a thing with substances is that often we might not want to do, like I might not want to drink for some reasons because I know like it's going to affect my sleep and I'm not going to feel great, but I'm also have a very um strong response to just doing that when I'm out with friends. And so sometimes I struggle with just saying no, even though I know like I don't need it. I'm fine and have a
Hmm.
good time. Like I've done that before, but when I end up in that situation, it's easy to just default to a certain response that I've developed a strong habit for. And so, yeah, I think little things, like just starting with little things throughout the day, like listening to that voice and just acknowledging it and like rewarding yourself, like saying good things to yourself for doing so, can help build that
Yeah.
strength.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you watch those. And I think that's why having a morning routine that helps you ground into like what your body is needing, what your soul is telling you, just like, and using that voice to guide your day is so powerful. Because especially with environment, and that's something I'm going to talk about one of these weeks, like your external people, your environment, the people you're around have such a massive influence on us. And like it's so subconscious because it's like a ingrained thing in humans. And it's so challenging unless you have like such strong willpower and like discipline, like you're so committed. Like I was like, I'm still out with my friends that do drugs and drink, but I'm just very committed to my mission. But like if you don't have that strength, it's gonna be very hard to say no. And because you want to go out with your friends, of course, you want to connect, you want to be a part of the things. It's such a human nature thing. So it's easy to get very influenced by people. if you're not super, super strong in your habits and your mindset around not drinking or like staying sober, or, like not doing your thing, because you know it's gonna make you feel better and like it's ultimately gonna help you towards your goals. But it's easy to get swayed in the moment because yeah, we care about what people are doing and we want to be part of the community and all the things. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't even always say influence by other people, but I think there's something that it's like comforting, like a comfort I find in myself and like doing those things, like, and that's
Mm,
um might use it as an excuse.
yeah, yeah, that's true too. But there is like a subconscious level of social pressure that we feel. Now, obviously, there is also your internal world where you're like maybe telling yourself that, oh, it makes me feel better, makes me feel calm. And maybe it truly does because you have built that habit within your body. And then I think for you, it's going to be how can you bring yourself that calmness and that feeling you desire in those social settings through your own internal tools and like your mindset and things like that. Yeah, that's so good. Do you have any questions or like is there anything you want to chat more about? I have about 5 more minutes, but it's been a really good conversation and I'm glad that you hopped on. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem. Uh, um, when do you think you'll get to the next module?
Yeah, I'm actually doing it this week. Do you see my message in Discord?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, I'm doing it this week. So check it out. I'm doing the nervous system, emotional regulation, the feelings, which is actually really going to be supportive for you. That module, I'll be doing it this week. And yeah, let me know in Discord group if you have any questions specifically about that. And I'll be creating trainings and stuff. So
Yeah, cool.
yes.
Sounds
But
good.
also, if you have done any other modules, you haven't popped in Discord group, there is action steps at the end of each module. So go and do that.
Yes, I've been doing them in my notebook. I'll go and share.
Go and share them. Yes, go and share, go and engage. We'd love to see what you're doing. It also helps me to support you better as I know what you are, yeah, sharing your insights and things like that. But yeah, thank you for hopping on. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the Discord group.
Cool. See you there.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. Bye.